Hello students. Hello students. So in the chapter conservation of plants and animals, in this lecture we will study national parks and sanctuaries. Now till now we have studied a lot of things that deforestation, due to this deforestation we are just losing the wildlife, and we are the animals those are living in the forest, they are homeless now. That's why they are going for the extinction, because so many species they are missing now, and that's why the predators also missing now. So that we are trying to recover whatever the losses already we have made, and that's why we are trying to make the safest place for the wild animals. So that is the national parks and sanctuaries. Now, the conservation of forest and wildlife, this is very important because we have seen a lot of reasons for that. Because if we are destroying the forest at that time, whatever it will be done, that carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases will be increased in the atmosphere. So deforestation, that means the degradation or loss of forest, and needs to be controlled, because we have to make the balance between the percentage of the carbon dioxide, and percentage of the oxygen. This is the first reason. Okay, this is very, very important. Now, the fuel, wood, timber, this should be used wisely and not wasted. We cannot use, because fuel, wood and timber, these are these are limited. Okay, so if these are limited, we have to use these wisely. And we should not waste all those things. Forest fire, due to this, we have seen that a lot of forest that has been disappeared. So forest fire, that should be monitored, and damage control measures should be taken, so that at the right time we are just able to extinguish that fire also. Every year lakhs of trees are destroyed because of the forest fires. So forest fire, that we are trying to minimize this effect also. So that means conservation of forest and wildlife we are doing using these methods. Now, the measures and interests need to be channeled towards regrowing trees. So reforestation, this is one method how we can increase the forest, and we can increase the land cover of forest. Because if we are not mentioning this is the land for forest, at that time it has been seen that the people, they are using it for agriculture, or using it for industry establishment, or they are using it for their home also. So that's why, second point, that is the land cover for forest, that should be specified. Okay. Next, the proper forest management bodies need to be enforced. Like that, for this reason, we have forest department. And there we have to think about that there will be no bribe there, and there will be no hunting procedures should be allowed there, right? So proper forest management bodies need to be enforced to monitor the wildlife action and update on the latest. And care and habitation need to be provided to the extinct species. Now, one thing is very important: the extinct species we cannot get it back, but the endangered species, these species, we can save them. So save these species. and save these species, and so care and habitation need to be provided to the extinct species or endangered species, and efforts need to be taken to save them from becoming extinct. So in this slide what we have studied, that first thing is that reforestation, we have to think about this, and we have to save the forest. We are not allowing logging, extra logging, unnecessary logging of the forest trees, and we are not going to allow anybody to take the land of the forest. That's why the land cover of forest, that we are going to specify, and we should be very much strict so that this land cannot be used. The land which has been specified for the forest, this land should not be used by agriculture or by any other type of industry or any other type of purpose. Okay. So another thing that forest department already we have, and so many armed polices also we have, because the hunters, they are just trying to break the rules and regulations. So forest department, they should be very much strict, and they should protect the forest wildlife. The wildlife, they should protect that thing, so that no logging, no illegal logging should be there, and unnecessary, that we are not doing that thing. And the extinction also, we have to check this one, because the care and habitation, we should take care of the habitation of the species which are going to be extinct, so that we can maintain our ecosystem properly. Now, the wildlife sanctuary. Here you can see that Kaziranga, a World Heritage Site. Here, sanctuary. A wildlife sanctuary is a naturally occurring sanctuary, such as an island, that provides protection for species from hunting, predation, and competition or poaching. So, here, this type of sanctuaries, we are going to make so many. So wildlife sanctuary, the wildlife sanctuary, that means this is a naturally occurring sanctuary. That means one place such as an island where we are giving the protection for the species, that no hunting will be there, no predation will be there, no competition or poaching will be there. So this type of wildlife sanctuary we are building, and we are protecting our wildlife. Now, national park also we can make flora and fauna. We can make the plants and animals found in a particular area are termed as flora, and fauna of that area respectively. So, plants and animals found in a particular area are termed as flora and fauna. And national park we are also making. The national park is a park that is used for the biodiversity conservation. Because already due to the deforestation, already we have the biodiversity that has been in a danger. Okay, biodiversity in a danger. So here we have to keep the biodiversity, conserve the biodiversity. That's why the national park we have, the national park we have built, and just to say for the biodiversity conservation, and they are developed and maintained by union government, okay, by union government. Now, national parks and sanctuaries. So national parks are the areas that are set by the government to conserve the natural environment. And sanctuary is a place of refuge where injured, abandoned, and abused wildlife is allowed to live in peace in their natural environment without any human intervention. without any human intervention. So these are the sanctuaries. So national parks, what is national park? National parks are the areas that are set by the government to conserve the natural environment. And sanctuary, it is a place of refuge where injured, abandoned and abused wildlife is allowed to live in peace in their natural environment. There will be no human intervention. There will be no human intervention. Okay. But in case of national park, we have the human intervention. Now, what is national park? National parks, those are the areas that has been made just to protect the natural environment. Okay, and they are also involved in public recreation and enjoyment activities also. We can see that in the national park we can go and we can see the animals from a very distance, or we can enjoy this for recreation and enjoyment activities. The national park, those have been made. And in the national park, landscapes and its flora fauna are present in their natural state. They are roaming here and there. So their natural state they are just doing. And India is rich in biodiversity. Here it comprises about 7.6% of mammals and 6.2% of reptiles and 12.6% of birds and 6% of flowering plant species. So these species are available under the Indo-Malayan ecozone. And many ecoregions of our country like Shola forest exhibit high rate of endemism. We have the tropical rainforest also, and tropical rainforest also, the Western Ghat, the Northeast India, and to the contiguous forest in the Himalayan region. So we have the forest cover over the ranges from tropical rainforest and wide area of India that has been covered by the forest also. Now, the significance of terrestrial ecosystem that coming along the Indo-Malayan ecozone consists of temperate, polar, wet, dry region for different kind of species. So here in this case, in the terrestrial ecosystem, you can see that in this area, the temperature and all wet and dry regions, both are, all these things are present, so they are safe now. The species, they are safe now. The species that include the elephant, tiger, cobra, crocodile, so many animals, they are different types of flora, fauna. They all are living there with each other. And Indian wildlife has around 99 world recognized national parks in different parts of each country. And all these national parks and wildlife reserves have been recognized by IUCN, that is International Union for the Conservation of Nature. The International Union for the Conservation of Nature under the second category of protected areas. Now the list of national parks in India. The Helipar National Park is the first national park in India. The Heli Park. Okay, Heli National Park. And Bandipur National Park in Karnataka, Bandhavgarh National Park in Madhya Pradesh, Bhadra Wildlife Sanctuary in Karnataka, Chinar Wildlife Sanctuary in Kerala, Corbett National Park in Uttarakhand, Dandeli Wildlife Sanctuary in Karnataka, Ranthambore National Park in Rajasthan, Sarithaks National Park in Rajasthan, Tadoba Andhari Tiger Reserve in Maharashtra, the Great Himalayan National Park in Himachal Pradesh. So what is sanctuary? Sanctuaries, a wildlife sanctuary is an area where animal habitats and their surroundings are protected from any sort of disturbance. because you know that this is the home of all the animals, right? So if this is not safe and they will feel some disturbance, at that time they will just escape away from that place. So the sanctuaries are naturally occurring areas that are meant to protect the endangered species from hunting, poaching and predation. And these animals are not bred for commercial purposes. And it provides a safe and healthy and secure refuge to all the wild animals. So a wildlife sanctuary is an area where animals' habitats and their surroundings are protected from any sort of disturbances. And the capturing, killing, and poaching of animals is strictly prohibited in these regions. They aim at providing most comfortable living to the animals. Most comfortable living to the animals. Now, in our India, the Bhadra Wildlife Sanctuary in Karnataka is in Chikmagalur and one of the top wildlife sanctuaries in India. So the Bhadra Wildlife Sanctuary in Karnataka, this is most wildlife sanctuaries in India. And here you know that the wildlife sanctuary is a protected area of the importance for flora, fauna, and features of geological or other interests also, which is reserved and managed for conservation and to provide opportunities to study the research. Okay, so the Wildlife Act 1972, it provides the establishment of protected areas in India. And the largest wildlife sanctuary in India, that is the Ranthambore National Park, Rajasthan. Ranthambore National Park, located in the state of Rajasthan, is the largest wildlife sanctuary in India, and it serves as a national reserve for the tigers. National reserve for the tigers. Now, the sanctuary is an area that is reserved for wildlife where they can freely use habitats and natural resources. They can use the natural resources, and sanctuaries play an important role in preserving the endangered species. Endangered species. In wildlife sanctuaries, hunting, poaching, these are strictly prohibited, so they are safe there, and the endangered species are specially monitored in these wildlife sanctuaries. And the first sanctuary or national park established in India is the Manas National Park or Manas Wildlife Sanctuary, which is many in one a national park, UNESCO Natural World Heritage Site. And this is the Tiger Reserve or Elephant Reserve and Biosphere Reserve in Assam also we have. And the largest wildlife sanctuary in India in 2022, that is the Run of Kutch. Run of Kutch. Okay. So, and the oldest wildlife sanctuary, that is the Central Wildlife Sanctuary, located in Darjeeling. So, these are the wildlife sanctuaries, and these are very important to protect the endangered species. So, in this way, we can make them comfortable, so they are not going to be extinct. They are not going to be extinct. Now, list of wildlife sanctuaries in India, that is Dichigam Wildlife Sanctuary, Sundarbans Wildlife Sanctuary. This is for Royal Bengal Tiger. Royal Bengal Tiger. Because you know that Royal Bengal Tiger, these are now going endangered species. Manas Wildlife Sanctuary, Bharatpur Bird Sanctuary, Periyar Wildlife Sanctuary, Vedantagal Bird Sanctuary, Madhu Mundanturai Wildlife Sanctuary, Annamalai Wildlife Sanctuary, Dandeli Wildlife Sanctuary, Chinar Wildlife Sanctuary. So there are a lot of wildlife sanctuaries here. And initially the national parks were wildlife sanctuary, but after the adoption of the conservative measures by the Indian government, 30% rise in the number of tigers in the year 2015. So these wildlife sanctuaries and national parks are most visited areas in India that offer an unmatchable wilderness in various regions. So wildlife lovers, tourists, they can go there and they can safari tour, bird watching, angling, fishing, river crossing, camping, tiger tours. Also, they can do it in the national park. And to make better and rewarding wildlife experiences, wildlife photography also we are allowing this thing. And there is also a provision of various kinds of accommodations such as resorts, hotels and lodges. So economic activity also we are doing using these wildlife sanctuaries and national parks also. Now, what is wildlife sanctuary? Now it is very clear. So as a conclusion, I can say one thing, that wildlife sanctuary, this is an area where animal habitats and their surroundings are protected from any sort of disturbances. And capturing, killing, poaching, all these things are prohibited here. We cannot do these things. Okay. Now, wildlife sanctuaries in India, so many Chilika Lake Bird Sanctuary. This is very important. You have to remember this one. And Gir National Park and Wildlife Sanctuary in Gujarat. This is also important. Tourism is not permitted in wildlife sanctuary, but in national park, tourism is in national park. In national park, tourism is allowed, and people are not allowed unescorted there. Without any escort, they cannot move there. And the main objective of establishing wildlife sanctuary is to educate humans as to how to treat the animals. The animals are taken care of and allowed to live peacefully in their natural habitats. Now, importance, what are the importance of wildlife sanctuaries? Because we know that the endangered animals, they are going for the extinction just to because they are the extinction because they are very much scared. They are very much scared due to the hunting, poaching, and predators also. Due to this, they are going for extinction. So we have to reduce this amount. So the wildlife sanctuaries are established to protect the endangered species. Protect the endangered species. Protect the endangered species. And it is quite difficult, is always to relocate the animals from their natural habitat. Therefore, protecting them in the natural environment, it is more advantageous. So that's why wildlife sanctuaries has been built, and we are successful here. The endangered species are specially monitored in the wildlife sanctuary, and here you can see that the species we are taking, and we are just adding some camera on them, so we can see the movement of them, and we are just watching what is happening there, so that they are not going to the extinction. So they will not be going for the extinction. Okay. Now, if they reproduce and grow in number while under protection, few specimens can be kept in breeding and conservation of the parks and their survival. And biologists also, they can do their experiments also in the sanctuaries. So a few sanctuaries take in injured and abandoned animals and rehabilitate them to health before releasing them to the forest. So in the sanctuaries, they are just taking those animals which are injured and abandoned, and then rehabilitate them to the health before releasing them to the forest. And wildlife sanctuaries preserve the endangered species and protect them from human and predators. Now, protection of endangered species. Many species like plant animals are on the verge of extinction. So such creatures need to be conserved, and various sanctuaries have been established, such as Flora Peninsula Sanctuary is maintained to protect the shock habitat for glossy black cockatoos. So these sanctuaries have been made to save the endangered species. Now, conservation of biodiversity. The landowners of wildlife sanctuary are involved in production and distribution of electricity, horticulture, grazing, farming enterprises, wine production, organic horticulture. So here you can see that the landowners of the wildlife sanctuary are involved in the production and distribution of electricity, horticulture, grazing and farming enterprises, wine production, and organize the horticulture. So horticulture actually it is derived from the Latin word hortus, that means garden. It is derived from the Latin word hortus, that is garden. And culture, as you know that culture, that means culture. Okay. And so it is the art and science of growing fruits, vegetables, herbs, nuts, and ornamental plants like trees, shrubs, flowering plant, flowering plants. Okay. So this is horticulture. Horticulture means this is the art and science of growing fruits, vegetables, herbs, nuts, ornamental plants like this. So this is a procedure. Now ecotourism. So many sanctuaries are also involved in ecotourism. They offer accommodation, tour guide, nature walks, their education and public use. The sanctuaries that are created on public land are involved in public use along with the conservation of biodiversity like golf courses, picnic areas, lakes for boating, swimming. Thus, we know that a wildlife sanctuary is one of the finest ways of preserving the endangered species. Now, biosphere reserves, biosphere and biodiversity. The biosphere is that part of the earth in which living organisms exist or which supports the life. And biological diversity or biodiversity that refers to the variety of organisms existing on the earth, their interrelationship and their relationship with the environment. And in India, we can name some of the biosphere reserves, that is Nilgiri Biosphere Reserves in Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Karnataka. And West Bengal, we have Sundarbans Biosphere Reserves. Tamil Nadu, we have Gulf or Mannar Biosphere Reserves. Uttarakhand, we have Nanda Devi Biosphere Reserves. And so there are different biosphere of reserves we have. And the largest biosphere reserve in India, that is the Gulf of Kutch. The largest biosphere reserve in India is the Gulf of Kutch, that is situated in the Gujarat. And smallest biosphere in India is the Dibru Saikhowa in Assam. Dibru Saikhowa in Assam. And this biosphere, this actually allow not only the protection of the soil, but also of water and species of wild plants and animals, among others. And environmental education also is a very important thing. So these are the sites that facilitate the way to know and learn about the dynamics of natural ecosystem and help the recovery of this. And here we know that Spain, it is very much good news that Spain is the country with the highest number of biosphere reserves in the world. And the first biosphere reserves in the India, that is the Nilgiri Biosphere Reserve. Nilgiri Biosphere Reserve. And there are, according to the 2022, in this year, up to this year, total 18 biospheres we have in India. And the last biosphere reserve in India, that is the Nanda Devi Biosphere Reserve. Nanda Devi Biosphere Reserve. So there are, we can give several examples of the biosphere: tundras, prairies, deserts, tropical rainforest, deciduous forest. So these are the biosphere reserves. Okay. Endemic species are those species that plants and animals which are found exclusively in a particular area. These are endemic species. An endemic species definition, endemic species is that ecological state of a species where a species is unique to a defined geographical location. To a defined geographical location. So endemic species here we know that endemism is a term that is used for the biology to talk about the distribution of a taxon limited to a small geographic area and which can therefore be found naturally in the place. So here in the endemic species we are talking about the endemic species are plant and animal species that are found in a particular area that are found in a particular area so those species we can see in a particular area, and these endemic species are those that are found in just one region and nowhere else in the nowhere else in the like kangaroos. Like kangaroos. These are originally endemic to Australia. These are originally endemic to Australia and found nowhere else in the world. So there are also other marsupials that are endemic only to Australia and its surrounding island. The Tasmanian tiger is one such of animal. The Tasmanian tiger. This is another such endemic species of Australia. Tasmania and New Guinea. Okay, so these are the endemic species what we can see, and there are other also so many huge number of endemic species are there. Endemic species in our India, that is Asiatic lion. We can see Asiatic lion in the Gir forest. We can see in the Gir forest Kashmir stag, also known as hangul. Okay, or also known as hangul. This can be seen in the Kashmir Valley. And also purple frog. We can see purple frog in the Western Ghat. In the Western Ghat, Sangai deer. Sangai deer in the Loktak Lake. So there are so many examples we have for the endemic species. Now, what are the endemic species? Already we know that the species that are found in a particular area that are endemic species and nowhere else in the world, like kangaroos and all these also we have given the examples of Tasmania tiger, we have given the example of kangaroos. So all of this, and endemic species are those which are only found in a given region and location. However, endemic species are unique to a particular geographical region. So without that, they are not available and we have to conserve them. And examples of the endemic species, already a lot of examples I have given. So another example I can give, that is the suppose in our India, I'm just moving the India, Nilgiri tahar, that is found in the Nilgiri hills, that we can see. And also we can see Nilgiri blue robin in the Nilgiri hills. And also we can see Indian giant squirrel. Okay, we can see also Indian giant squirrel. So all the organisms of species that are widely distributed around the world start to die out until the species becomes forcefully restrained to just one region. Okay. So these are the examples already we have given. Another thing we can say that Madagascar can be found on small island, Galapagos and the lemurs of the Madagascar. Big islands also provide some isolation but a larger scale. Hawaii and Australia are all huge land masses. We have Antarctica and endemic species we can see like kangaroo in the Australia, polar bear in the Arctic region, polar bear, polar bears in the Arctic region, Antarctic region, we can see. And endemic plants also we can see. So redwood forest of the west coast of United States has become endemic. And here that we can see a lot of endemic species like redwood forest, and is now almost entirely limited to California, and where there was a time redwood forest used to cover much of the United States. Now it has been destroyed by logging and are now limited to the conservation area. And disease on the other hand can also be endemic. So endemic disease may be geographically isolated or it may be isolated to a certain group. Malaria is an example of the endemic disease. Malaria is the example of endemic disease because it is mostly limited to small pocket of infection in Africa. Now endemic species in India, that Asiatic lion, gir forest, okay, then Kashmir stag, Kashmir Valley, lion-tailed macaque, Western Ghat, purple frog, Western Ghat, Sangai deer, Loktak Lake, Nilgiri Tahar, Nilgiri Hills, and other also so many Nilgiri blue robin, Malabar sever, Anamalai gliding frog. So these also we can see a lot of endemic species. Now, biosphere, how to preserve the biosphere? Reserve the biosphere. Biosphere reserves the area that protected from human intervention. And these areas help in conservation of endangered species. And Project Tiger, this is very, very important. This we have made just to save the endangered tiger type of tigers. And Project Tiger was launched by the government to protect and conserve the dwindling tiger population in the country. The dwindling tiger population in the country because they are going for the extinction, and several natural parks have been associated with the Project Tiger initiative. Project Tiger initiative. Now, what is biosphere reserve? Biosphere reserves are protected areas meant for the conservation of plant and animals, and it is restores the traditional life of the tribes. This also very, very important, and you can see that whenever you will go for Andaman and Nicobar island, here you can see that in the islands you can see that some tribals are there. So they are originally we are restoring them. Their traditional life we are restoring, and we are not disturbing them. They are living in their own style, and they conserve the biodiversity of that area. So that's why the biosphere reserve is very important. Now the government 18 biosphere reserves in India established, and just to protect large areas of natural habitats. These areas are provided with buffer zones that are open for some economic use. And not only flora fauna but also humans inhabiting these areas are protected. So that means these are the tribes. So we are going to save the tribes. Otherwise they will go for the extinction. Now, biosphere reserve are identified by Man and Biosphere Reserve Program. UNESCO, it has taken the initiative to protect this thing. The several programs they are arranging, and world's most typical terrestrial and coastal ecosystems, and it exhibits approaches on life and works in harmony with nature. It demonstrates the achievement of sustainable, sorry, the achievement of sustainable balance between the conserving natural ecosystem and biodiversity. So, reserving the biosphere, that is very, very important. And just to UNESCO has taken so many initiatives, so many programs. Also, we are organizing just to educate all the people regarding this, and the world's most typical terrestrial and coastal ecosystems, that also we are thinking about, and the exhibit approaches on life and works in harmony with nature and demonstrates the achievements of sustainable balance between the conserving natural ecosystem and the biodiversity. Now, zones of biosphere reserves. There are three biosphere reserve zones: core, buffer, manipulation. Now, the core zone. Sorry. Now, the core zone. Okay. Core zone. This is legally protected area where human intervention is strictly prohibited. This is legally protected area where human intervention is strictly prohibited. And it is the innermost undisturbed ecosystem. The information from these areas helps to assess the sustainability of activities, maintenance of environmental quality in the surrounding areas. So this core zone, these are very much protected area. No human intervention can be possible there, and it is innermost undisturbed ecosystem. It is the innermost undisturbed ecosystem, and it helps us to assess the sustainability of activities or maintenance of environmental quality in the surrounding areas. Next is the buffer zone. Next is the buffer zone. Okay, next is the buffer zone. So in the buffer zone, this area surrounding the core zone is a buffer zone. Okay, there is a core zone, and around this we have another buffer zone. Here only the research and education activities can be done. These activities should not obstruct the conservation objectives of the core area. So this is the core area. Suppose you have, and surrounding this you have another area, that is the buffer zone. That is called the buffer zone. And in this buffer zone you cannot, only the research, here you can do only the research and education. None of the other things you can do here. So this is the buffer zone, and you cannot disturb the activities of the core zone here. Next is this is the area that includes the activities that help to manage the natural vegetation, agricultural land, fisheries, forests to enhance the quality of production. But this zone might also include recreation, tourism facilities. Human activities are less intensive in this zone. Manipulation zone. Next is the manipulation manipulation zone. In the manipulation zone, here the biosphere reserve where human activities like cropping, recreation, forestry, settlements are permitted with the cooperation of the reserve management and local people. So here all this cropping, recreation, forestry, settlements, these are permitted. These are permitted with the cooperation of reserve management and local people. And this area, through these activities, the degraded area is resumed to its natural form. And the local communities, scientists, conservation agencies, cultural groups, stakeholders work in this zone, they can do their own job. Now, Biosphere Reserve in India, here you can see Nilgiri Biosphere Reserve, Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Karnataka, Sundarbans Biosphere Reserve in West Bengal, Gulf of Mannar Biosphere Reserve, Tamil Nadu. So there are a lot of biosphere reserves we have. In Sikkim also we have Kanchenjunga National Park, and here you have Great Nicobar Biosphere Reserve, Great Nicobar in okay. So importance of biosphere reserve, first thing is the conservation, this is the development. Development means the economic development, the cultural development, the social and economic development. Restoration, the biosphere reserves restore any damage caused by the ecosystem and habitats. Education and research, for this the biosphere that reserves area can be used. The research provides way to recreate the landscape that have been affected by the human activities. And land use planning also can be done there. And land use planning also we are doing. The public institution, landowners, farmers, scientists, industry, conservation groups found in this area can work together to look for comprehensive land management. And healthy ecosystem also we are maintaining in this biosphere reserve. And here we are reserving biosphere reserve are a great source of biodiversity conservation. Biodiversity conservation. Now, endangered animals, already I have told endangered animals means we are going to be testing extinction. Okay. So, animals whose number are limited, animals whose number are diminishing to a level and they are going for the extinction. These are called endangered animals. Now, ecosystem, to maintain the ecosystem, we require these endangered animals, the microorganisms, the plants. So, we have to save this. Red Data Book. Now, this Red Data Book is a source book where all the records of endangered animals and plants, it has been mentioned there. Now, the migration. Migration is the periodic movement of animals from one place to another place. And it is usually done for breeding and to escape the harsh climate. If there is any harsh climate, they will just escape from that place. For breeding also, they are migrating. Migration is common in birds and fishes, and in winter we can see so many migrating birds are coming from Siberia. So migration happens just to avoid some harsh climates, because in Siberia the climate in the winter season, that the climate is not suitable for them. So they are coming here. So migration, that means the movement of organism. This is the movement of organism. This is the movement of organism in large numbers from one place to another, and there are many reasons. The term migration is mainly defined regular or periodic movement, but they are doing it for breeding and to avoid the harsh climate. To avoid the harsh climate. Okay. So till now for today, thank you all.